Welcome parents to Back to School Night. My name is Mrs. Maynard and I teach 6th grade math, 7th grade math, pre-algebra, history 8, and in the high school I teach Introduction to Psychology from a Christian perspective. I have been here for 15 years. This is the beginning of my 16th year here at Pvca. I have 2 boys who graduated from Pvca. My son Stephen graduated in 2019 and my son Michael graduated with the class of 2020. I'm very happy to be back in school and actually getting to work with the kids, and I'm just looking forward to a great year with all of your young people this year. So thank you for letting me work with them. In Math 6, the students will be building upon some of their previously learned arithmetic skills and use that to build understanding of more complex operations, like operations with fractions, decimals, percents, introducing them to integers, which are positive and negative whole numbers, etc. At the beginning of most classes, they will be doing a math speed drill, and that's just keeping them fresh on their addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division facts. So they will have a sheet of about 50 facts, so they'll have 90 seconds to do it. It's just to kind of keep them thinking about those basic math facts, because it's good to have those really ingrained in your mind as we're doing problems, and then we start to get into more multi-step problems, and if they're not bogged down in trying to do the smaller arithmetic problems, that can only help them as they move along. So we do that most days, except for like test days or quiz days. We'll be doing that at the beginning of classes. Also in 6th grade math, we talk about the role of God in math, and there's many attributes that God has that are apparent in mathematics, but 4 of them that we really focus on is his immutability, which is his unchangeableness, and just as God is not changing, neither are math facts. 2 times 2 is always going to be 4, and things like that, and just to allow them to see some of those characteristics throughout. One of the other attributes of God that we talk about is his infinity. Just like God has no beginning and no end, the number line has no beginning and no end. And so that's another way that we see a little bits of his character in our studies. Also his orderly nature. Just like God is a God of order, and orderliness is very important, just like he didn't create the birds of the sky before he created sky, because otherwise where would they fly? Math also follows a fixed order of operations in order to be consistent and for us to be getting accurate answers and the same answers. So that's another place where we see one of his attributes in mathematics. And the 4th one that we kind of talk about during the year is his universality. He's all in one. He is the God of everything, no matter time or place, nor variance in size. And just like certain math concepts, no matter what time period in human history, 2 times 2 has always been 4. No matter what place you are in the world or beyond, 2 times 2 is still 4. And some of his math principles still hold true when we're talking about infinitesimally small things and when we're talking about astronomically large things. So he really shows us those 4 major attributes throughout our study of mathematics. And so throughout the year, as we study different topics, I'll point those out and show how they really work. And he really reveals himself to us through math. And the students are encouraged to keep an organized notebook, and we go over exactly how to take notes. Yes, we take notes in math, and making sure they have the terms they need to know and any steps to follow, and then examples that go along with it. So when they go home to do their homework, they always have the notes to refer back to. And then if they're not quite remembering, they can just turn back and be like, oh yeah, that's what we talked about. That's what we did. These are the steps that I have to follow to solve this problem. And so hopefully they will find that helpful. They are graded on it because as in middle school, they are learning how to learn. That's part of how in math I teach them how to learn, is how to take careful, organized notes, how to set up homeworks neatly so that they can just have themselves set up as much as possible for success. And our grading system in 6th grade math is our tests are worth 25%, our quizzes are 35%, the homework is 20%, the notebook is 10%, their preparation for class is 5%, which just means do they show up each day with their book, their notebook, their pencil and then a pen to correct with. If they show up with those 4 things every day, there's 5% of their grade right there. And then also the last 5% is their mental math, which is their speed drills on addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division throughout the year. And they're able to make quiz corrections, specifically for quizzes, not for tests, because tests cover a larger portion of material, and it's usually we take quizzes after every couple of concepts, but the tests come like at the end of the chapter or at the end of a unit. And so as they're learning these things and taking quizzes, they're allowed to make corrections to get up to half of their points back, so that the quiz can kind of function as a learning tool as well. And so if they don't understand why they got something wrong, they can always ask, they can go back to their notes, they can rework some of those problems. So it helps them to really learn in some of those areas where they might have not got it the first time. And so hopefully they find that helpful, and that also helps their grade. It cuts down on them having to, ask at the end of the term for any bonus work just to raise their grade up, because they've already been doing what they need to do to improve their grade throughout the term. And so we also review all the concepts that we've learned at the end of the year, and then have a review assessment. So we stop a week or so before the end of the school year, and we just go back and we just go over some sample problems of everything that we've done that year, to just kind of show them how far they've come from when they started to now. And then we take a review assessment to just see how they have done and see how much they remember. And so hopefully they find that helpful. And we also, if your students ever are having trouble with math, extra help is available on Mondays and Thursdays from 2:45 to 3:30 right here in my classroom. And all they have to do is give me some prior notice, even if they tell me that day, like, oh, Mrs. Maynard, I'm going to be staying after today for the extra help, just so I know to look for them right after school. And so that's always available. So if your student is finding they're having a hard time, just remind them that that extra help is available to them. And thank you very much for allowing me to work with your students, and have a good evening.